Hey guys, it's Chandler, and welcome to the Healing Heroes.
I promise you.
I'm Chandler Stroud, an executive, wife, and busy mom of two, who after years of living with anxiety, health struggles, and an unshakable feeling like I should be happier, made a profound discovery that changed everything. Join me on a journey where unexpected paths lead to healing and more happiness. On this show, we'll explore unconventional ways to unlock more joy in your own life with the help of my very own healers and trusted advisors, the Healing Heroes. Hey guys, today we'll be talking about energy healing and how our life circumstances and physical bodies are informed by our individual fields of energy. Said another way, the energy you give off ultimately governs your life and impacts not just everyone, but everything around you. I had seen this play out in my own life a myriad of ways, but most specifically, I felt the impact of my irritable, frustrated, and exhausted energy in how I was parenting my children. I was very quick to anger. Everything was rushed and hurried. And I felt like I was either nagging them to make beds, pick up toys, turn off the TV to shower and go to bed, do homework, or I was repeating myself 5 or 6 times to get them to do anything. I definitely think there was an element of control in there. Like if they didn't do exactly what I wanted or expected them to do in that moment, I would feel the frustration and temper rise in my body. And please understand, this is not to say that everything is now perfect and I'm no longer a mom nagging her kids to get ready for school. But, and this is a really big but, guys, I can count on one hand the number of times I've had to raise my voice with my kids in the last 6 months in response to something they've done or to make them do something they didn't want to do. Many of the other things I was trying at the time to release old blockages remaining from my childhood trauma complemented this energy work, sure, but coupled with the focused energy approach, it really unlocked new levels of joy and peace that I never thought possible. It's been transformational, guys. I can't say enough good things about it. Some may say, how do I know if I need to shift my energy? And if I do, what are some things I can do on my own to be intentional about seeing a change? We'll get into that today with my energy healer and friend, Katherine. But before I do, let me share a little bit more about her background before we dive in. With over 2 decades of experience facilitating profound transformation for individuals and corporate teams, Katherine MacLane is recognized as a standout authority in the realms of energy coaching, healing, and mindset transformation. Through scientifically backed methods, she facilitates shifts in vibrations and frequencies, unlocking the most authentic and empowered versions of her clients. Katherine's journey is propelled by an unwavering dedication to guiding others towards inner fulfillment and profound self-discovery. Throughout her career, Katherine has been recognized in esteemed publications such as the Wall Street Journal, CBS Sunday Morning, Forbes, and numerous other national and international media outlets. Katherine holds degrees from Southern Methodist University and the Kellogg School of Management, and she is certified in Reiki, energy healing, mindset and life coaching, chakras, crystals, and sound frequency healing. Katherine, thanks so much for being with us today. I'm so excited you're here and I can't wait to dive into this super important topic.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here, Chandler.
Just to get us started, can you share a quick overview of what energy healing is and why someone would reach out to you for help?
Yeah, absolutely. So you actually had a really great description in your intro about energy being everything. And it really is. We are operating 100% on energy in everything we do, everything we're thinking, every experience that we have. And, sometimes people will see coincidences when they're feeling really great, more great things happen to them. When they're feeling sad, right? You kind of hear these stories about someone who gets out of bed in the morning and they stub their toe and they're like, oh, this is the kind of day this is going to be. And they keep going and then they spill their coffee and then their car won't start, right? And it's this kind of trickle effect. And that's how the vibration and frequency works, is it is an attractor of what it is that you're going to experience. So when I work with energy, my main goal is to make sure that all of your chakras are balanced, make sure that you're on the right vibrational frequency to attract the very best possible experiences you can experience. And then we couple that with mindset work so that you actually understand what's happening within your body, within your frequency. And then I give you the tools you can use daily so that you can keep that up and you understand what's going on, and you can help, I'd say, manipulate the energy on your own day to day, right? So I guide you as often as we meet. We clear blocks, we reset your energy, and then you are given homework so that you understand that you are actually in control of everything that you're experiencing.
I love our homework. Different from the homework I received in school. This is like, the incentive to do the homework is a little bit more exciting because, it's really for you in an obvious and clear way.
And I have to say, when I say homework, sometimes people are like, oh, I don't want to do anything after. Like, just do it for me. Just do it for me. So when I do work with people, it is very, very customized as to what people get. Sometimes I'll throw like the whole kitchen sink and then we peel it back. Sometimes I just give things a little bit at a time. I've had clients who like really don't want to take it on. And so when you're willing and able to take on the homework, you're at a point where you're feeling more empowered, that you are actually more in control of everything going on in your life. It's when that resistance is there that you feel like things are happening to you, right? But everyone's going to see the most benefit when they understand that they can put in the work and magic happens.
It seems like you're saying it's really important for people to actively participate in their own energy work. Would you say that's correct? Or is it just a matter of results being better if someone is like ready and willing versus someone who just wants to kind of lie there and meditate?
I think that you can do both. And I think it's really wherever you're comfortable, right? And so, the longer we work together, the more evidence you're going to see of the work that I'm doing and the work that you're doing. So partnered together, it's so much more powerful. I use my intuition to determine what is needed for each particular client. But, it really is about what is happening after, right? Like we have these stories and paradigms just from all of our experiences cumulatively throughout our lives of beliefs that we have. And a belief is just something that we have said to ourselves over and over and over again that we keep believing. And what happens with the mind is that when we believe something, the neurons in our brain are actually looking for evidence that it's true. So part of the work that I do on the mindset side is shifting those beliefs with you. And the biggest belief that I'm trying to shift is the power that you actually have over your life and connecting with that high frequency so that you can see more and more specific changes in the areas that you're looking to improve.
For those people that have connected with those higher frequencies, the clients that you've been working with, how have you seen energy healing help them or others who seek your advice and guidance? Why is opening up our energy so important?
As we said, energy is absolutely everything, right? So in terms of the energy work and chakra clearing, we have meridians, thousands of meridians in our body, and the main meridians are 7 main chakras. And a lot of times I will focus on making sure that those are balanced and clearing out any blocks. The interesting thing that I see, it's very different in every single session with every different client. And you've seen that, like all of your sessions have been different, right? And sometimes I will see physical ailments. Sometimes it'll be more emotional. And it's one of the things that I love most about this is because I believe so much in human connection and being open and being able to connect with other humans. That's part of the healing process, right? So I may see something in a chakra and associate it with other images I see and ask some questions after, like, did you have any sexual trauma growing up? I may see something where that may lead me to ask that question, and that opens up a conversation that leads to more of the customized homework on how we're going to deal with the beliefs surrounding whatever happened. And then there was another client and it was a virtual client where it was almost like I saw this thick oil-like substance back left of her head. And I asked her after, I said, have you been having headaches? Is there anything going on, with your brain?
How's your brain doing
How's
today?
your brain going? How's your brain going? Any headaches, anything going on in your head? And she said, actually, I've been having brain aneurysms on that side of my head and I have surgery coming up. I had no idea
Wow.
that was happening, but we do hold things, and our body getting sick is actually the indication that something needs to shift in our energy. So I'm a very firm believer that our bodies can heal itself, and science over the last 30 years or so has started to come up with more and more evidence that this is actually true. When we connect the organ of our heart and our brain and they connect together for a positive frequency, it is so, so powerful, which is why I focus on the mind and the feeling connected with the mind to make that internal shift. Because really, we shouldn't be sick. And so now it's interesting, if I start feeling like I'm getting sick or I see my kids starting to get sick, in the past, I'd be like, oh, that school is such a petri dish. Like, that was like always my first reaction. Like, oh, those dirty kids, like who brought it? Who was it? What kid was it? It was that one over there. I know he's always picking his nose, whatever it is. Right. And so, but now I ask more of like, all right, what's going on I have 3 boys. What's going on with my son? Like, what is he experiencing? Like, I should probably sit down and have a conversation. Like, is something bothering you at school? Or are you having problems with a friend? Like, am I doing something, or have we not connected enough in the last week? Because we all have such busy schedules, right? Everyone's got sports and activities and school and work and, dishes and dinner and right. And so to find those moments of connection are so important in our family lives, with our children, with everything. And when we can make that connection, I've seen, we don't get sick as much in my house anymore. We just don't, and it's funny because I'll hear people say like, oh, we got that flu that's going around. And like, I want so badly to be like, well, like, how are y'all feeling? Like, what have you guys been doing lately? Is so-and-so like happy at school? Like, how are his friendships going? Or how are her friendships going? And like, have you guys connected as a family? Like, maybe you just need a game night, like, whatever it is. And it's really interesting when you start really exploring that side of things and looking at energy and frequency in your household. Yes, we're busy, but can we take a moment to connect? Right. I read somewhere a while ago about the amount of hugs that kids need. And I can't remember the exact statistic, but it was like 3 hugs to survive and like 6 to like feel better, but it was like 12 to like really thrive or whatever, right? That's not the exact, but it's somewhere along those lines. So now I'm like, okay, like I'm going to give you 12 hugs, but they have to be like really good hugs,
Your
like,
kids are like, mom's lost it.
And it doesn't happen every single day, but I do try, and they know that it's important. And that physical connection, that touch, and just the intention behind like, I want to share the love that I have inside with you, that also helps your frequency. It helps your own frequency. It releases so much dopamine when you are connecting with another human and you are giving. And we hear that a lot, right? With giving, like the reason that people give things, give their time, donate money, donate their time. When we give, it's actually much more of a reward than when we receive. And I think sometimes we forget that. And as moms, we're giving all the time, but we're giving in a way that's almost depleting our energy, right? Rather than like thinking of the intention and purpose behind what we're doing and stopping and taking the time, look someone in the eye, say, I love you. Hey, you're so great. I hope you have a great day. Those little things don't take a lot of time, but they make a massive impact in the energy in your household.
I totally agree. There's so much to unpack there. And I think it's so true. Of course, I would have told you 6 to 8 months ago, I love my kids. I tell them I love them. I hug them at night. They know I love them. But changing my energy completely shifted my relationship with them. And I'm nearly certain it's because I had this wall up, right? And they felt that. We couldn't connect. You're talking about the importance of connection. And we were connected on the outside as a family, right? But to like truly look in their eyes and read how they're feeling and get curious about how they're feeling and ask the questions versus assuming they're okay made a huge difference, because now it's like they know I really see them. And so they really see me. And I think that has played a big role in not always having to ask them to do things so many times. Their defenses are down. They're not living in this, low frequency, stressed, static place. It's like my positive energy is flowing and they're picking up on that. And they're able to kind of reflect that in turn. And when everyone's defenses are down, we listen to each other. We see each other, like really see each other. And it's made such a difference.
And we talked about this very early on about matching the vibration and frequency. And one of the examples I use a lot is, let's say you're in a really good mood, but one of your kids comes into the room and they're in a terrible mood and they start talking back to you and they're just being totally disrespectful. And our first reaction is to completely react to that and be like, what are you doing? Like, you can't talk to me like that, right? And the way that I would like for people to think about it is, it is a frequency that we're talking about. You may have been in a really good mood listening to a podcast or your favorite music or whatever you're doing. And this frequency comes in and you drop it down to that one. And now you've matched that frequency, and that's where the energy in the room is. Instead, if you stay at your good feeling vibration and realize that these are actual frequencies and think about it very scientifically rather than more of an emotional reaction, then you can say, look, if I don't match that frequency, my child or husband either has to come up and meet mine or will leave the room. And I can't tell you how many times this has happened in our household. If I maintain this, if they leave because they just can't handle it and they're not ready to raise their vibration, they'll come back in and apologize. And I haven't even said anything. I'm so sorry. I had this really bad day at school, and I'm sorry that I acted that way when I came in. And can we start over? Right? Where in the past, it would have been they come in, I lower down to here, it becomes a screaming match, and it would last for like the rest of the day. And that was it. Like, when you look at it as energy and frequency, it becomes so powerful, and you can shift how everyone is feeling in the house. The other thing that you mentioned in the intro was the word control. And I think as parents, a lot of times we have in our head this story or paradigm about us being in control, and they have to do what pleases us. And I think we get caught up in that a lot. Like, well, it's just because I said, and right now that's convenient for me, so just do what I say.
Guilty as charged.
Same, right? We all have those moments where we're doing that. It's like, I don't have the energy to explain it to you right now. But I'm sure you've also noticed the more that you've connected on that better vibrational frequency with your family, the less of those moments you're actually having, because it feels more like all the cogs in the wheel are working together rather than like one big cog, like pushing all the little cogs to do whatever they want. It's more of like, we're all working together as a family unit now, rather than you feeling like you need to be in full control of everything.
That is the perfect description. I feel like my family is in flow. We're all active participants in how this day is going to go, and we're working together to make it the best we can. And that's because I'm now receiving, right? I'm listening.
And you see behavior changes too. And this is my favorite part about vibration and frequency is it's actually effortless. Like, when we're making these changes, you'll start seeing changes in other people, and you haven't had to tell them to do anything. You didn't say, hey, I want you to change your attitude. The attitude just changes. Your interaction with people, and that can happen with friendships, again, with spouses, with your family, with friends. When you change, the people around you have to change to either match that frequency or not be around you in that frequency. And it's so fun. It's so fun when you finally start noticing that you're actually making that change, but all you're doing is changing your frequency. You're not forcing someone to be someone that they don't feel like being in the moment, right?
Yes. It's so true. And I can't say this for every Saturday that we've had this spring, but like historically, Saturdays in the spring and fall are me coming downstairs, trying to get a cup of tea or coffee, already yelling at my kids who have been watching cartoons, haven't eaten breakfast. Someone's got soccer, someone's got baseball, and we're already scrambling the second the day starts. Right. And it's just painful. It feels like I'm on edge the whole day. And lately, what I've noticed with this change in energy, I come down, I'm like, morning, everybody. What do you want for breakfast? And I just, I shift it a little bit, and that starting the day off in a place of how's everyone doing? How are you feeling today? It sounds so simple, but I'll say, hey, Rory, you have soccer in a little bit. And she'll say, okay, mom, jump off the couch and go up and get ready. I didn't even have to say, you have 5 minutes until we have to leave. You have 3 minutes to get your shin guards on, right? Like she just heard it and knew what her role was in that conversation. And it sounds so small, but like from there, then Riley, my son, has a similar reaction, and it just sort of snowballs on itself throughout the day. And it feels so different than it used to that you can't not notice the change and be grateful every time you're like, that was so much easier than I feel like it normally would have been.
Right. No, absolutely. And that's the funny thing about energy work is that, people I work with for a while, like, yeah, I feel I'm good. Like, I'm good. And it was such subtle changes and subtle movements and shifts in vibration and like a little shift in mindset and like a little bit of homework here and there, just these little shifts. But when you come into who you fully are, into your best version of yourself, it feels so natural. You're not feeling the big contrast. But when you can look back, you say, wow, that's actually a huge change, but it feels so natural, right?
It does. Yeah.
So it doesn't feel so profound, but it is.
It totally is. And it's been so rewarding to feel that change. I've also tried to help my kids foster that kind of energy on their own where they can. Many people know I am a huge Mel Robbins fan, and I'm a big proponent of her high five in the morning. And so I started doing that with my son. We'll go into the bathroom and I'll say, okay, let's do it. And you high five the mirror, but look yourself in the eye. And you just say, today is going to be a great day. And it just sets the tone for expecting great things. And when you're expecting great things, they come. And it's so small, but he really likes it. It's like, our little thing. And now he does it on his own sometimes. It's really cute. Or he says he's doing it on his own. But that's just a little trick.
The changes that you have been through, you are setting an example. They see the change, whether they know what they're seeing exactly and they can put it into words or not. They can feel the vibration. They can feel the shift. They can feel the love emanating from you. They can feel your frequency, and they can see the way that you've changed in your reaction to things. And that is so, so powerful, which is why they end up shifting. And they will then in turn talk to people differently. I had a kindergarten teacher call me about my little son the other day and said, I have to tell you this story about your son. They were coloring this picture and the boy next to him said, gosh, I hate my picture. It's awful. And my son evidently said, my mom's an energy doctor. I'm not a doctor, but she said that, we should really say nice things to ourselves. And I just wanted to tell you that your sky looks really beautiful in that picture. And this little boy goes, you know what? You're right. That is a good sky. Thank you so much. Like, it was just this whole exchange where like he helped this little boy turn around his perspective. So when we're changing our perspective, when we change the way we talk about things, if they pick it up and they help people. And we talked about how that giving releases that dopamine, so powerful. And they start feeling that they're making a change in the world. And it's so beautiful.
It's a real gift to give somebody, to be able to shift and change the energy around them, other people's energy as well. I want to go back quickly because earlier on you were talking a lot about chakras. Can you expand on chakras a little bit and their role and importance?
Absolutely. Yeah. So our chakras are our main meridians, and it basically what happens is, so, we have our crown chakra that is connected to the divine, or a third eye chakra, our intuition. We have our throat chakra, our voice, how we speak. We have our heart chakra, obviously, like how we express our love, our solar plexus, our sacral chakra, and our root chakra. Our root chakra is more for grounding. The sacral for women is very, very important because that's our womb connection, any sexual energy. I always like to connect our solar plexus with our confidence. It's kind of like the core. It's in the middle. When all of those are aligned, that's when we can really thrive. We are not our bodies and our minds, but we are a spirit that's in a body. So when we can connect that spirit energy to our physical grounded bodies, that's where we can really make our magic happen. And so when I go through an energy session, I will balance the chakras. I will clear any blocks that I see in the chakras. And that's so important because when all of that energy can flow through easily, that's the flow that you want to have your energy exactly where you want it to be to make anything happen in your life. Because we can have, do, or be anything we want. We just have to align with the energy of what it is that we want. And staying on that positive frequency is so, so important. We're not trying to suppress any negative emotions. I just want to be really clear about that. I think that there's definitely a process that I work through when identifying negative emotions and using an emotional scale to help bring yourself to a better feeling place. But in essence, being positive is what is going to bring the magical changes. So if you have resistance to it, it's important that we find out where that resistance is coming from and work through that emotion. And you get better at this. Like you've gotten better at it. Like I'm getting better at it. Like it's a process every day. It's like, oh, I'm having a bad feeling. Well, in the past, I might have wanted to stay there because it gets comfortable. When you're used to being in that negative space, that becomes the comfortable space. And in societal terms, we have gotten into a terrible habit of negative talk. And we were talking about like being a mom and having kids. I think this is another thing that we can also do as moms and staying on a positive frequency. When you hear other moms complaining, I think there's a really nice way to kind of throw out maybe something that's positive, like acknowledge what they've said. And then, it could be something, I've used this example before with clients. It could be like something with sports, right? Like, oh, this schedule, I can't, right? And we're all guilty of it.
Yes.
Oh my God, I can't with this schedule anymore. Yeah, I hear you. But like, gosh, that new coach is really awesome, isn't he? There's a way to shift the conversation so you don't start going down this rabbit hole of negative stuff because you'll hear the conversation. You can be the one to shift it in a very organic and natural way to find something positive to talk about. They might then say, oh yeah, also this happened. And you want to leave people feeling better than when you started.
I love that.
And so if we can start doing that as women, as moms, and, we talk about uplifting other women. I hear it all the time. Like, this is the easiest, most simple way that we can help each other is just one little positive thing. Be a compliment to someone. It could just be acknowledging something great going on in their community, something positive that you're leaving them with every single time you interact with someone. And there again is the giving.
How do we balance the need to look for the positive in every situation with allowing women to feel like they can connect with one another over these real worries, anxieties, concerns, and challenges in their day-to-day, right? That's how a lot of women, I think, today know how to connect with each other. Or at least I have found when you ask the right questions and someone feels safe enough to open up about what's really going on with them, that has been really eye-opening for me in how I have conducted conversations with some of my closest friends. But I do think there's a balance between women feeling like they can talk to their friends about the stuff that isn't going well, but also, to your point, looking on the bright side and trying to infuse that positive energy so that the frequency and dynamic can shift. But how do you balance the two?
Well, I think there's a little bit of an education too. And I think I have seen more of a shift in the awareness and knowledge of energy and frequency in the last few years more than I ever have. And so I think people are more open to those conversations. Let them express what they need to express, because again, I'm not a proponent of suppressing feelings or not being able to talk about things that are happening to you. But I do think that there's a way that we can be supportive of one another and help educate on, all right, let's talk about your energy and your frequency. Like, are you familiar with it? One of the things that they can do is at the end of every single day, have them write down 5 things that were great about the day. And they could be so small. It could just be, I had a moment at bedtime tonight where I actually really connected with my teenager or whatever it is. And I felt like we were on the same page and they felt how much I love them and it felt really good. Or I made a great dinner tonight, or I was able to relax for 5 minutes, or I was able to talk about my problem with someone and they heard me and I feel better about it because then we ended up having a really positive conversation about something else. Little shifts that you can help people make in understanding how energy and frequency works. You can give them tasks. The more that you learn about it, the more you can say, hey, have you tried this? Have you ever thought about doing this? Have you used gratitude? And so if they're open enough, again, to have the conversation with you and open up, then they're probably open enough to hear about what's helped you. And so that's probably the best way to infuse this energy and positivity into the conversation, is by sharing a personal story rather than feeling like you're telling them what to do or telling them they're not okay to feel that way, because that's not what you're doing at all. It's more of, hey, I'd like to help. This is what helped me in that situation. If that's where the conversation goes.
Okay, so I hear you. It sounds like you are saying there's a real difference between allowing your friends, whoever it is, your kids, your spouse, the space to express how they're feeling or to express those tough emotions. Give them the space to feel however they want to feel.
Right.
You're just speaking to the nuance of then giving them some authentic ways to advise and counsel them for how they can either address how they're feeling or start to change it once they've had a moment to process with you, however they're feeling.
Allow yourself, allow other people to feel the feeling that they're feeling, so that it's not pent up. They feel like they have a safe space, and then help them, whether it's a conversation where you're talking them through to get to a different emotion that's a little bit more positive, or sharing an experience of, hey, you know what? I've just started using positive gratitude in my day to day and looking for at least 20 things a day or 5 things a day or 2 things a day or whatever it is. That's really helped me to change my perspective on things, and things that frustrate me don't feel so like weighted as much, because if you just leave the conversation and then it goes into a darker place and then you start sharing a negative story, and that's when you guys start sharing a negative frequency. And then you take that with you throughout the rest of your day. Then the conversation's over. You go back to your kids. Now you're in a negative vibrational frequency, right? It's like you talked about, like a snowball effect. And even if there's nothing that you feel like you can say, if you feel like, for a lot of people listening, maybe this is new for them and they don't know how to counsel or guide, or they don't have specific examples in their day to day. Honestly, the best thing you can do is just feel love from your heart and send it to them.
Switching gears a bit, what was it about energy healing that first intrigued you? How did you get started with it?
When I first saw The Secret on Oprah, this is so long ago.
I remember.
But I remember seeing The Secret and Rhonda Byrne, and I was so fascinated. I was like, what is this? Like, how do I do that? So I started like writing myself these big checks. It was like doing all this stuff. And I'm like, this isn't working for me. I was worse off. I started reading all these books, and it kind of sent me down this rabbit hole. And then I was like, oh, well, so much of this seems to be mindset and life coaching. And so that was first certification. I had a really good friend who did Reiki, and I started training with her and felt such a profound shift. And that's when I started learning about the crystals. I don't use them all the time, but the importance of them and how they're used in our chakras. And then I learned about sound frequency and how that can connect with healing, as an example. And then I kind of got to a place where I'm like, oh, what do I do with all of these things? Do I choose one? What do I do? And I prayed on it. I meditated on it. I was like, you know what? I'm just going to use all of it. I'm just going to combine all of it. And I'm so passionate about it because that was my journey. All of these modalities together helped me to help other people. And it has been so rewarding to be able to do that and just use intuition. When we can connect to that higher frequency and we can share that with other people, like that's where the magic in this journey is happening for all of us. And that's how we evolve as humans and not just as individuals. And we can learn that and we can understand how to change and shift our own energy, change and shift the energy of those around us. It changes our experience completely.
Do you need special skill sets to help influence another person's energy?
Well, that's a good question. I think that you definitely need some knowledge of it. What I would say is I've definitely gone through training, and I think it's good to understand the way that it works. But once you have the basic knowledge and training, I would say everyone has the capability of doing this. Everyone has the capability of shifting and changing their own energy, of helping other people with their energy. It was a gift that I truly believe everyone was born with. It's about tapping into that and tapping into your highest self. And once you understand and you learn what it is that you're working with and understand energy and have that training wherever you are drawn to get it from, right? You can help anyone.
I love that too. And is representative of what we're saying, right? Like we've been saying, you, the individual, can really impact and affect the energy in your own personal orbit. So I love this concept that anyone can really be an energy healer to some degree.
So it's not that we're not taking any action and it's effortless, but it's effortless action when it's inspired from a higher vibration and frequency place. And so those actions are what is affecting your children and your family life. And that gift is coming directly from you and what you've experienced and what you've learned.
I'm sure people are curious. What does a typical energy healing session look like with you? What do you do to prep? Is it mostly talking? Is there body work involved?
I used to prep a lot more for sessions, but then I found once I got in them, everything changed. So I don't prep as much going into it. I have a lot of tools that I bring with me. So sometimes I do in-person sessions, I do virtual sessions. I always start all of my sessions by having a conversation first and really getting to know who it is that I'm working with and ask them about what's going on in their life, any challenges that they're having, any great things that are happening, just kind of get an overall idea of where they are and really why they sought out an energy session, because that really gets to the root of what it is that they want to get out of the session. And that also helps to set an intention. I always set intentions in the session, whether I do it verbally with the client or I do it in my mind before I actually start. But it'll usually start with a conversation. And then I usually will guide the client into a relaxed state. And there might be some breathing. I do breath work as well. So we might do a little bit of breathing just to kind of get the body into more of a deep, relaxed state. And then I just use a combination of energy healing. I might use crystals. I have sound frequency that I use, tuning forks that I may use, Reiki, of course. And it really is a matter of what I'm seeing when I'm kind of looking at the body, the different energy flow in the body, what needs to shift and change. I might add in some guided visualizations. Mm-hmm. And that all just comes up as the session is happening. And then I'll guide them out of the session. And then we'll kind of talk about anything that they experienced or anything in particular that I saw. And then we'll kind of get into whatever homework comes up or tasks that I'll give them. And I usually just kind of follow up with an email so that they have that in writing, and then they can kind of follow up and ask questions and go from there.
And make sure they hand in their homework.
Yes. I do follow up. But again, there's no pressure. And I want to just reinforce that. Not everyone's ready for the homework right away, but that's okay, right, because everyone's in a different spot. But I do
Totally.
follow.
What's been the most surprising thing you've learned in your journey to heal others?
Probably how well intuition actually works, and that truly everyone has it. When I mentioned earlier that I was a very type A person, like I was the type of person that like, do not give me a journal. I'm not going to try meditation. I hate yoga. Like give me a hip hop class or something, like some fast paced, something with a good beat, like to work out, and I'm good. I never thought that I could be this Zen, calm person. But the thing that surprised me the most, not only that I could get to that peaceful place and meditate for more than 20 minutes, which still blows my mind, but the intuition, like the things I can see in sessions. If someone had told me, years ago that I would be able to see someone's energy or get messages, and that's happened to me too, where in sessions I may get messages that I don't even know are messages.
Do you have any suggestions for how people can start shifting their energy at home if they aren't ready to hire a healer for support?
One of the most powerful things that you can do to shift your energy is finding gratitude, actually, just in everyday things. And the most powerful way to cultivate the practice of gratitude is actually writing it down. I know that not everyone likes to journal or has started journaling. If you can write it down, great. If you want to just get started by thinking about things, it could be that you set an alarm on your phone maybe once or twice a day. And it's like, oh, it's my gratitude time. And you just look around you and you say like, oh, what's around me right now that I'm grateful for? And it could be, oh, I love those flowers over there. Or, you could be in the car driving and it's like, oh, look at that sky. It's so beautiful. Or, I'm so grateful that the person in front of me is using their turn signal. Like it could be so simple and so mundane, but when you can find joy and gratitude in the little things throughout the day, you are shifting your energy immensely.
That feels like a very accessible tool for everyone at home to be thinking about and using and putting into practice more. And as we've talked on previous episodes, watch out for that self-talk. If you're feeling like you're failing at this mission, baby steps, guys, one thing at a time, and just keep working towards the goal. And I really do believe that you put these small tasks or small ideas into place one at a time, and they really do snowball into bigger things to be grateful for and more noticeable changes in your day-to-day and in your relationships. It's really such a powerful way to go about your life. Well, this was awesome. Thank you so much again for being here, Katherine. I always learn so much and enjoy talking to you virtually and in person. So I really appreciate you taking the time to tell everyone more about what you do and how they can improve their own day-to-day by just simple shifts in energy and what types of impact that can have for them.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me. This was wonderful. And anyone that has any questions, I'm always available.
Thanks, Katherine. And to those tuning in, if you enjoyed today's conversation, please share it with friends and don't forget to subscribe. You can also visit healingheroespodcast.com to get resources, meet the heroes, and share your ideas for future episodes. Thanks for listening, everyone. And until next time, remember, be curious, be courageous, and be kind to yourself. You've got this.